Hi, I'm Bill Doherty. I want to welcome the viewers to another edition of Bill's Bullpen. Bill's Bullpen is a program that's intended to give folks an idea of what's going on both in our town and also in the region. With me today I have Dr. Lisa Maguire. Dr. Maguire is the new, I guess the varnish is sort of wearing off, principal here at Bourne High School. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Great. Well, the first thing that everybody would want to know about a new person is, how did you get here? Tell us a little bit something about how you evolved. What was the thing that drew you to education and let's say, and going from, I presume, teaching into administration?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think I became a teacher because I had great teachers that I formed really strong relationships with. Started whether it was in chorus in middle school or into some of my classes in high school, English in particular. I was an English teacher. Really just saw potential in me and saw just an energy about learning, about finding answers, and encouraged that when I was in high school and then beyond, past that. I wasn't sure what I wanted to go to college for. I applied to colleges pre-med. I loved to read. I ended up an English major. I had a couple different majors in the middle because I think it was about learning for me. It was about different subjects. It was about exposure to different content. And I think in the end, that's what drew me to teaching high school, was being able to give that exposure and being able to open those doors and those pathways for other kids. I did that through the lens of English. But as I became a teacher and worked in the schools, I also had that interest. What's that other thing going on? What are those other adults doing who aren't in the classroom, and what's that about? And for me, being able to, developing the relationships I had with students and families, I think for me, being able to remove the roadblocks, help people find success, be a problem solver, that's what was appealing about administration. So being able to do that for students, for families, for teachers, to be able to do their best work in school, that's why I made the transition over. So as I live in Plymouth and grew up in Massachusetts, so familiar with the Cape, I was drawn to Bourne because of this small, tight-knit coastal community. I believe that the programs that have been started and that we're really building are compelling. They're good for kids, and I that was something I wanted to be a part of. I want to believe in the work that I'm doing and the people I'm doing it with, and I really want to do that here.
Well, when you say you grew up in Plymouth, did you go to, I remember there was the Manamet Elementary School was around the corner for where we had a place in Whitehorse Beach. My cousin still lives down there. So, I do have that connection to Plymouth, America's hometown, as they say.
Yep.
But I found that the 15 towns on the Cape also have that, or maintain that, what I'd call that quality of being in a small town where a lot of us know each other, over time, and a lot of us are involved with what's going on. Let's talk a little bit about your vision for Bourne High School for the kids that you're dealing with. What do you see as the opportunities? I won't say challenges, but I'll say opportunities do you see for kids?
Yeah. So there are a lot of great things going here. We have a phenomenal fine arts program. We have these new innovation pathways where students can pursue career clusters where they can have concentrations of coursework, experiences that lead them, whether it's healthcare or business, to have that step up when they graduate from here. And we're really looking at our curriculum, what we teach kids and how we teach it. I think that's really the vision, is that all of our students are prepared for whatever it is they set as a goal post-high school. And so whether that's college or career, the military, the world of work, everyone is prepared for the next step. And we want to do that with exposure, with experience, being able to take the content and say, why is this relevant? How do we make it meaningful for students so that they understand the why? Why do I need to study this, and what's it going to do for me? That's important to be able to answer for kids. And it's my vision that we really look at how we support our students to engage with our content, to engage with everything that the high school has to offer, so that they leave here confident and ready.
When you talk about being engaged with content, okay, could you give me some examples of what that is? Because and as part of that, I remember when I applied to college, I had looked at the the catalog, and in the catalog it had a core curriculum, and so the admissions person that I was being interviewed by said, "Well, what exactly do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to take a core curriculum and then pick a major, in my junior year." And he says, "People who come to this college know what they want to do." I said, "I'm 17 years old. I don't know what I want to do tomorrow." And I realized the interview was over at that point. So, so I hope that part of the guidance that you're given is that in the scientific method, you sometimes pursue things that don't go anyplace. But to quote Edison, you now know some place that you shouldn't go the next time.
And that's just as valuable, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So our students have a 4-year curriculum that starts with career exploration, the modern workplace, personal finance, and then an internship course. Internship. And our goal for next year is to expand that internship program to 100% of our seniors. Because it is so valuable to say, do I want to spend the next 4 years studying this in college? Is this really what I think it is or what it's about? And, for example, in the medical field, we think about doctors, nurses. There are so many other support positions that are vital and valuable that a teenager wouldn't even know about.
I spent my college years working nights in a city hospital as a CNR, so I guess that's what they call it now, but I was an orderly.
Yeah.
And actually I got to work with the medical examiner and the pathologist. So if I wanted to pursue, I was a physics major, so I wasn't looking at biology, but I learned a lot about myself in doing that. And the main thing was I didn't want to do it,
Right.
But
Right.
but you do have that opportunity for exposure.
But it's that connection and through line for kids. So we have these virtual dissection tables that are being used in anatomy class, that are in biology now. State of the art, medical colleges, universities are using them. And our kids have access to that kind of high-tech equipment to be able to apply what's happening in class. Then they go down the street to Cape Cod Health, and they're on an internship where they rotate through the different departments and now see that in practice.
Now, is that at Falmouth Hospital that they're doing that?
So we have interns all over. That's
Okay.
one example.
Okay.
Yep. And so we have an intern here in the TV studio, for example,
yeah.
right now. So being able to take what you're learning in class and see that show up outside the classroom, there's no greater value than having that experience while kids are in high school. And to say, is this what I think it is? Do I want a job in finance and accounting? I really love talking to people too much to just, be behind the scenes working with numbers. What is something where I can showcase some of my strengths and talents? So work in business, learn about finance, and what are the other aspects and the branches of that they can practice. We have a brand new DECA competitive business team.
Oh, I know DECA. I think I went to some of their conferences over the years.
So kids who do DECA are very successful because they're taking the content in class and they're practicing it in real world scenarios. So what if I owned this business? How do I market this product, and what are the choices I have to make around that? So they're taking the content and then they're applying it outside the classroom, networking, and really having those experiences that say, yeah, this is really, I'm on the right track.
Let's talk a little bit about the takeaways that the kids have from participating in these things. Do they have an opportunity to tell the rest of the people who didn't go what's going on?
So we want them to have those revelations while they're doing the program, so the reflection is built in, and we also want to showcase their collective experiences. So we do that through our showcase evenings. One of the things that I want to be able to do as a newer administrator here is tell our story more. We need to market and brand ourselves so that our town understands what Bourne High School is about, the things that we're doing, the experiences that our students are having. And people have choice now that we didn't have 10 or 20 years ago. There are a lot of schools out there and a lot of school choice on the Cape. So we want to make sure that everyone understands what it means to be a Bourne High School student. So those stories that we may have reserved for the classroom, those are things that we need to start to share out. So we're working together to get that information out.
There seems to be a lot of emphasis on what I'd call the computer-oriented technology field, and I know that some of them are let's say, can get you a lot of money. One of my grandsons is in crypto security. He makes an obscene amount of money, doing it. But of course, he's also talented and has passed the Microsoft exams and all the rest of it. But what are some of the range of choices that a kid would have and the parents should know about as they come to Bourne High School?
So info and data systems is one that we're pursuing and looking at, but we have arts and communications, we have business, we have life and health science, both different pathways. So government and politics is another one. Hospitality. It really, the beauty about the pathways and the work that we're doing is that it's individualized to each student. So we're talking about really exploratory and technical courses. Everyone still needs to take English, math, science, and social studies.
And I hope they learn how to spell.
For sure, right? With some grammar and not texting in their papers.
Oh God,
The
I used
formal
to drive me
writing.
crazy. I more than once I used to threaten a kid when I was substitute teaching. But I can take the SIM card out of your phone
Yeah.
if it doesn't disappear. And it was always, I'm calling my grandmother, because they were looking at me.
Right.
Old guy, you're going to be sympathetic to a grandparent.
But so we have those core foundational classes, and those will take students anywhere they want to go. Those skills are transcend the subject area. But it's about the exploratory, right? It's about what is this business class, or careers in healthcare is a course that we offer. Some advanced business, the graphic design and graphics arts courses. Really, kids can start to focus and hone in on what is exciting to me, what are my skills and interests, and how do they merge in something that then becomes a career. So how do you take something that you love and make a career, make money out of it, make it a financial possibility for the future? Those are all conversations we have with kids today, so that you're not going to college blind, or you're not entering the workforce without a plan. We need students who do post-secondary training and become plumbers and electricians and all of our trades. We want them to have that plan and that business-minded, how do I find success for myself no matter what I do?
One of the issues for me was that I had been on the curriculum committee down at the Lower Cape, Tech, and what I wanted to see was what were we doing for kids that were not successful in, let's say, accepting the opportunities that were presented to them, and were just basically taking up space and time in the classroom. And sometimes you're grateful for the fact that they're not participating in a negative way, but at the same time, it would seem to be there was a waste of 4 years, and I wondered as to whether or not for those kids that were not going to, and I don't know if they take an exam with the vocational schools now, but what were we doing for those kids that basically needed to have some pathway to getting not the trade, but let's say the introduction to the part where, as unions used to have, they used to have apprentice programs that that they would take kids in. Is there anything or any thought about doing that for those kids that are not successful in the academic part?
Absolutely, and I think that to back up, before we do that, we have to build the relationships with kids, get to know their interests, get to know their strengths, and leverage those strengths to be able to make plans with them. So we have students who are pursuing EMT certification. We have kids who are interested in auto body.
Now, are they doing that within the curriculum, or is this outside? Is this with the support of the curriculum on an outside basis?
That's with the support of the curriculum. Well, it depends. So something like auto body, that's where our internship program comes in and our work experience. to be able to say you can go out and do that. We have students who are going to certify for CNA and are doing, will start nursing assistant review courses right here at the high school.
No, there was a program, as I recall, that was being sponsored at 4Cs, where kids in high school, if they were able to demonstrate a certain amount of, let's say, ability, they could be taking college level courses down there. But of course there's the transportation issue, in order to get down there. Is there any connection for that to get kids started on a college program?
So we do, early college is the program, and we do have articulation with 4Cs so that students are able to earn credit while they're here at the high school. We're pursuing a course in business as well right now that will be offered here, and students will be able to get the credit. So those are options that we're looking at and that we're working. Students are able to do that here from Bourne High School now, though.
Well, as I recall, one of the reasons for giving business courses, back in the day when I was in high school, there was a program called Junior Achievement, and the main purpose of giving it was that there was an attitude that business was not really a thing to pursue. Capitalism was, not. You wanted to get into nonprofits, NGOs and things like that, and it was like, wait a minute, the way you make a living is, you go to an office and you go to a job, or you go to or you start a business, and in order to do that, you have to develop a certain amount of interest and skill to do that. So that was part of the program, and I found that the high school, curriculum did spend some time on what I would call a very important course called bookkeeping, because double entry bookkeeping is is sort of the basis of how do you keep track of how the business operates, and is that the type of curriculum as far as business goes, or are they able to set up some sort of a business and then see how it works out? In other words, raise money. And
so that entrepreneurship part of it, we have both. So we have 2 full-time business teachers here, and they're supporting kids to take intro to business, and then also continue to start to take those other courses, the economic side, the accounting side, the entrepreneurial side, the entrepreneurship, the DECA, marketing. A quarter to a third of our graduates say that they're looking to pursue business in college. So we want to make sure they're prepared in that area. And we have to respond to those numbers. That's why we started the business pathway specifically. And we're also looking at courses like AP Advanced Placement Business. That's a course that's being written nationally right now.
Really?
And we have one of our new staff members in the business department is working on developing the course and the exam for that. And the exam isn't a sit-down pen and paper solely, in the moment. They will develop a project over time with a team and then go and reflect on that process, analyze the outcome of that project, and show their proficiency in being able to talk about the work when they sit for the exam. So it's proficiency based, and it also has that performance built into it, because that's what business is.
Well, I remember my original introduction to business was selling newspapers on a corner in Cambridge growing up, and one of the things I found was that the kids whose corner I was using took great exception to it and beat the crap out of me one day because I was stealing his corner.
Their corner, yeah.
So I learned a lot about competition, in that way, which meant you had to be prepared to deal with it. Now, while we're talking about business, and it's very important, I don't lose sight of the fact that leadership, in my opinion, comes from an understanding and a participation in the liberal arts. So what is Bourne High School doing about that?
So I think that all of our students are grounded in a solid foundation. We have Mass Core, which states that students are taking a menu of courses along all of our disciplines, and really sets out that well-rounded pathway. And at the foundation of what we do, because high school is so exploratory, we have to be able to ground and build those skills across domains. So every student is getting that experience here, no matter whether they select a pathway, pursue an internship, want to go to college, want to join the military. Everyone gets that same foundation. And so some of the work that we're doing is in our curriculum. We have a pre-AP program in some of our 9th and 10th grade classes right now, and we've eliminated that college prep track and brought everybody up to that level of we're all going to be in the same level. And if we choose to go on in this subject, we are prepared to take coursework at the AP level in this. And the reason why we did that is that idea of equity and access. Everyone has the right to gain that foundational, that tier 1 instruction in our main core subjects. So in science, social studies, math, and English, everyone gets the same content. Now, we may differentiate to meet your learning style. We may support with another staff member, but we're not changing the curriculum because every one of us has the right to access that curriculum.
Well, I think that's a wonderful answer, and I hope people who are watching are paying attention to that, because the basis of preparation, and I view my secondary school education as being the one that said, yes, this is the key to the door. Of course, when you get to the next room, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to show that you deserve to be there. But the point is, you have that confidence that's built in because you have had that individual training. Of course, when as I think you would. Majored in English when you were in college, and one of the things that I found from my own experience in studying English literature is that there's a lot of lessons to be learned from what I'd call the so-called classics of English literature, and sometimes when I hear about some of the books that that are being presented, not from any scatological issue, but just from the fact that they don't seem to look at the verities. I found personally that when I read Julius Caesar and loved it, and it made so much sense to me, and I remember that one phrase about the fault of Brutus is not in our stars but in ourselves, that we're underlings. It's sort of an introduction to the responsibility we have for ourselves, which I hope, which is something I got in high school, and I hope that that the kids appreciate that that's what you're really getting, is that it's you. It's not it's not the world around you that makes the difference.
Absolutely, and that's why our students are still reading Caesar.
The other ones, going forward, King Lear meant a lot more to me, at 80 than it did, at 18. I'll say that, and that's I guess the one one of the benefits of
But it's
that.
the exposure to the enduring understandings. It's what is the takeaway that makes this valuable as a piece of literature or from history. What are the takeaways that we can use to inform where we are in the world, what's our place in it, and how do we move forward in it? That's what we hope our kids get from being in our liberal arts, our humanities classes.
Well, in addition to to English, there's also the exposure to Belletras. I was told you should read, a novel in the original. Of course, my second language is German, and not a hell of a lot of German, novels that I could get around, get my head around. But a lot of times, if and I would say this to kids, that if you want to get an understanding of what your parents are all about, you should read these books, because that does accurately, describe, where they're at,
But there's also, absolutely, with the content, but it's the process too. So finding that book to read in German and struggling through that, being able to stick with it, to make sense of it, to problem solve in it, to be part of that, which you learn from world language, you learn in sciences, to be able to stick through that process, that's valuable in and of itself.
Yes, and I did read Faust, like I was supposed to.
Yeah.
So there are those opportunities, and I think that the thing that I struggle with is, and I would say this to kids. I said, you're only here for about 5 hours a day. You have 19 hours to do whatever you want to outside of it. this is the time when you should pay attention. This seat is costing your parents $7,000. I think it's more now, probably closer to 12. To have this seat for you to have this free education. So you really need to take advantage of it. At this time, this is your opportunity. This is when you're supposed to pay attention, and later on, it'll be remedial courses and regret, as you go forward. So, right now, we're almost at, actually, you only got a couple of minutes to go before we get done.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the takeaways you would want the community to have about Bourne High School?
I want the community to know that this high school community is incredible. We have kids who want to be here, who are doing their very best. We have committed staff members who are working so hard
Mm-hmm.
to bring programming to kids. And it's a smaller school by numbers, and we want to grow that. We want people to come here to learn, to contribute, to compete, and the programs that we have are just incredible. The opportunities for the size of the school are astounding, and people should really take a look at what you can get here, because there are things. There is a place for VOTEC, and I respect the work that they do with kids, but the arts programs that you can have here and the athletics that you can have here that you can't have at some of the other programs where you're making choices, you can have both here. And that's really compelling, to be able to come to your community school, to experience the academics, the athletics, the extracurriculars, and be ready with a plan post-high school. That's really important. And we're looking at our instruction, we're looking at our assessment. I think our numbers are going to grow, both in our, MCAS, for example. But I want to see our student population grow as well, as people take another look at Bourne High.
Now, there's school choice.
Yep.
Okay, and is it just the Barnstable County, or is it Plymouth and Barnstable County that kids can come from?
So it's open. I mean, and there are a number of different reasons why people will come from different programs. A school might be much larger than us, and someone wants a smaller community.
Mm-hmm.
Or we may have that arts or drama program that they're really looking for. We might be the same size as a school, but really just have something, whether it's the pathways or the internships or the baseball team. There are reasons to come here.
Absolutely.
And I want everyone to look at the whole package.
Well, and I think with that, I think that's a way to, to stop this conversation, but also to invite people to spend more time to find out for themselves what is available here in Bourne, and also and spread the word to the other communities, in Wareham, Plymouth, and in Sandwich, as well as Falmouth, that there's so many things here that are available, and they should take advantage of it. And of course, whatever helps the school helps the community. So that's another thing that I think is very important for people to understand, that the lifeblood of the community is based upon the support that we give to the children that are coming through. But with all of that, I want to thank Dr. Maguire for coming and visiting with us, and I want to thank the viewers for spending the time to find out a little bit more about what's going on here in Bourne at your high school. So with that, I want to thank the viewers again, and this has been a production of Bourne TV.